know. Niggas know how I'm bumming, nigga. Yeah. Fuck what a nigga say, I feel like Dre. Man, the game is thick. Suckers wanna play and load my K until that bitch click. Big stick, hanging out the bottom of my 4-5. No lie, if I whip it out, somebody gon' die. Only time you hard is on the gram when you go live. Flexing with a tube but never blam, I'ma blow mine. Won't show mine until it's go time. Nah, you can't hold mine. Yeah, I got the whole mine, I'm on the goal line. And I'm going for 6, watch me up the scope. Caught him at the stove, he was with his hoe. Had to let him know, that's your ass, you don't get it past. You reap what you sow. Why you speaking low? Speak up, boy, you been a hoe. Boy, you been a bitch, get off dick, tryna steal my drip. Look up in the air, you see me, I'm fly as bird shit. Never on no nerd shit, why you on that lame shit? You don't want no smoke, you get smoke with who you hang with. You know what I'm saying? Lame ass niggas talking about they in some gang shit. Nigga, you was a bitch, nigga. Matter of fact, nigga, you was a hoe. Nah, you ain't no hoe, cause hoes get dope. Man, your pussy ass a cat.
We fucking lied, my niggas.
Tell him free to act. Dealing for your rat, you know he told how you sleep with.
Hard to Start Fantasy Podcast, man. Hard to Start Kev here. Bringing y'all some midday so y'all can go into the night fantasy advice. Dropping these week 7 waiver wire advice, as well as giving y'all some trade swerves. If y'all aware, last year, me and JD used to do for the last few years, me and JD used to do the Swerve episodes. Swerve is when you try to go buy low for a player, get him for the low. Swerve is when you looking to trade away that player or stay away. I'm going to bring y'all some swerves today, and then within the next day or so, I'm going to jump on with some players y'all can swerve for. But first, I'll go ahead and run the top week 6 waiver wire ads at the bottom. No order in particular, just depending on your need. Obviously, QBs wise, actually, I don't know. I hit the wrong one, y'all. My fault. Waiver ads, there we go. If you're in need for a QB, it's one of those weeks. You got players like Joe Burrow, Dak, who just had a bounce back game on a bye. So you definitely might be looking to stream some quarterbacks. One of my favorite streamers, I would probably say, man, I've been messing with Sam Howell. He's still not owned in a lot of leagues. He is somebody that, is less than 50% owned in most leagues. He had a solid game this week versus solid game this week versus Atlanta, who is a slow-paced team. 19 fantasy points. We only had 3 quarterbacks that went over 20 points this week, so I'm not mad at grabbing Sam Howell versus the Giants, even though the Giants did look a little stingy versus Josh Allen. I don't know if it was the layover from London or just getting back, but the Giants defense, pass rush was looking impressive. But Sam Howell, he had 3 touchdowns on only 150 yards, kind of giving you those Jordan Love type numbers. So if you need somebody to just throw in this week, he might be an option. One of my favorites is actually Josh Dobbs. They're going against Seattle this week. I see Seattle putting up some points. Dobbs hasn't had a good game the last 2 games, only 11 and 8 fantasy points. But the game before that versus Frisco, he had 25 at Frisco. I see him using his legs, using his arms. Seattle's D has been solid. You know what I'm saying? They've been actually one of the better Ds in the league. Them coming off a loss, I look for them to try to put up some points and get that offense going. And Arizona, Dobbs be playing from behind that game. We won't go too deep as far as like running backs. Obviously, the top running back pickup this week is Zach Evans. You got Kyron Williams is set to miss some time with an ankle injury. The other running back, Rivers, is out. They got Royce Freeman. They'll activate. And Zach Evans, he was one of those top prospects. He was at TCU, then transferred to Ole Miss. He was one of those guys people were stashing in Dynasty. I doubt you were stashing him in this. That's why he's so low owned. But, this offense can make Sony Michel look good. You know what I'm saying? So unless they plan on going to sign somebody last minute, I think Zach Evans is definitely going to have some value this week. Same with Kareem Hunt. Kareem Hunt isn't 50% owned. That offense looks like, Cleveland's identity looks like it's run and defense. Hunt got the first carry of the game. Ford does look like the better running back, but if you telling me that they're going to have 50-50 or 60-40 split, trying to control the game without Deshaun Watson there, trying to make up for Nick Chubb, I'm comfortable with Kareem Hunt playing him when running backs are down this year. You got to get it how you live. Uh, Probably the number 3 and number 4 running backs. Jordan Mason's going to be a hot pickup, but the problem is this Elijah Mitchell's field and Jordan Mason, or is CMC even going to suit up this week? He's saying he got a chance to suit up. So Jordan Mason, I wouldn't, if you in Fab, I wouldn't just spend the house on him. But to me, out of him and Elijah Mitchell, he looks like the better running back for what we need. But maybe they just been sitting Elijah Mitchell out to get healthy, and he's actually good. Zeke is another one who people are still grabbing. Ramondre Stevenson has 17 fantasy points. Zeke had 11. He had a 75-yard run called back that would have upped his percentage. The offense is terrible, but if you're desperate in bye weeks, why not? Good stash, definitely Tajay Spears. Look for King Henry maybe to even get traded. I don't know. But Spears, when he gets the ball, he did something. He only had 6 points last week. They weren't using him during the game in London versus Baltimore. And then as soon as they used him, he gets a scamper. So I don't know. Craig Reynolds is a volume play with David Montgomery missing some time and Gibbs banged up. Pierce ain't been running hard. It just ain't been working. Will they look to get Singletary more involved like they did this last week? I'm not sold on Pierce. Another dud, 3 points. Wide receivers wise, Shaheed, I don't know why he's on still. Why he's not 60, 70% on. Derek Carr's shoulder looking better. Shaheed should not be on the wire. In the leagues I'm in the best leagues, he's not, but for some reason on Yahoo, he's less than 50% on. Rashee Rice, volume, his play time went down, his snaps went down, but he still had 11 fantasy points. At some point, it's free Rice, man. Sky Moore ain't it, but they obviously, he's more with the system, knows what they're going to do. He is a fast threat, so maybe that's why they continue to use him. But I look for Rice to take over that Tony role because Tony ain't it, man. So stash Rice for sure. Josh Downs, another stash. Josh Downs is a fast guy. Minshew threw the ball 55 times. Josh Downs is a guy that don't need to catch the deep ball. He will because he's that fast, but he's catching a lot of short passes. So, he's probably going to get 5 to 6 catches a game, them trying to make. Now, what he does with it, I don't know. But when you're talking about filling in for buys and maybe even on the long term, your flex, depending on how many players you start or if you got some injuries, Josh Downs is a great guy to throw in, and he can comfortably get you 10 to 12 points, in my opinion. Mims is a stash just based on will Judy get traded. His usage ain't there yet. Don't know why. Josh Reynolds is still out there. Don't know why. Another one that's been getting. Maybe it's because of James on. James on is on the list for somebody to stash, even though he caught a touchdown but didn't have a lot of targets. As far as tight ends, probably the top 3 waiver wire pick this week got to be Mike Mayer. Being used a lot more. And why is Jonnu Smith still on the wire? I don't understand. But let me give y'all some quick trade targets, man. I'll leave that up there for y'all to check during the show and get some of those wire picks that you might want. Let's get into some sell and swerve candidates. Number 1 on my list, Kyren Williams. The guy's a small guy. Now, the Rams are going to use their running backs like workhorses. Can he handle it? It looks like he can't. Got an MRI. His ankle look good. Got a sprained ankle. But it's next man up over there. Like I said, they can make Sony Michel look good. So, Kyren Williams has been going crazy. He's a top 5 running back right now. But again, running backs is down. I'm looking to sell Kyren Williams right now off of injury. Your pitch to the person you selling it to is he got 1 game off. The MRI was good. He just got a sprained ankle. He'll be back getting the full workload. You might be able to package something up and grab some of these players that I'll mention on the Trade 4 show in a day or so. Kyren, again, they're passing less to the running backs. When Cooper Kupp wasn't there, he was getting targets and catches in the game. Now with Cooper Kupp coming back, you got Kupp and Puka Nacua dominating the targets. I don't want the running back on the Rams that's not getting the targets. And even if he is, it's the workhorse in him, and he's not big enough to handle it. That's my take on that. Trade Kyren Williams. Another one, Godwin. Mike Evans is back. Didn't do much this week, but he still had 10 targets to Godwin 7. Godwin has no TDs right now, 13 points last week. Baker only has 7 TDs on the year, So do I want the 1B supposedly Godwin starting as my second best receiver? Probably not, but that may be a selling point for you. Look, Godwin is still averaging almost 14 fantasy points, and he doesn't have any TDs. It's only up from here. Godwin is a guy I'm looking to get rid of. Baker got a little banged up, but he'll be all right. It was his non-throwing hand. Again, Mike Evans, he was out last week and you thought Godwin would kill. Still the same Godwin, no touchdowns. I'm trading Godwin. Another trade away, DJ Moore. We see Fields is going to be out this week, thumb injury. He'll be all right, but do I want the wide receiver that's tied to the success of a quarterback who's been hurt the last, he got hurt last year in that stretch that you wanted. A quarterback who still does use his feet. Thumb dislocated right now. I don't want an inaccurate quarterback with a fucked up thumb. He was already inaccurate with a good thumb. Yeah, DJ Moore is a target monster, but that's not something I'm willing to bank my season on. Is the health of Justin Fields and the play of the Chicago Bears, which, okay, DJ Moore is boom or bust with more bust than booms. Now, if you tell me DJ Moore going to get you 10 to 14 points every week, okay, I can see the argument why you would keep him, because occasionally he might get you 40 or 30 or 50. But the 50 might already happen and ain't going to never happen again. So I'm not comfortable with DJ Moore as my starting wide receiver. Then I even look at his matchups towards the end of the year. They played Detroit twice, one being in the fantasy playoffs, New Orleans, Cleveland coming up. Again, with his success tied to Fields, I don't know if I could take that gamble. We got a question real quick. Hurting that running back after losing Chubb Dobbins this year. Current running backs Mixon, Javonte, Gainwell, Justice Hill, and Ingram. I'm assuming Keontae Ingram. Should I trade Tua for T-Law and Jerome? No, you cannot trade Tua for T-Law and Jerome. Now, I do like Ford and his schedule coming up. And I see you put the trade would be Tua for T-Law, Jerome, Ford, and Jaylen Warren. No. Every week there's a new running back that pops up. You might can go grab Kareem Hunt right now on the wire and keep Tua. Tua can be a player that can win you a week. T-Law might not even play this week. I'm not doing that. I'm not getting desperate like that. You got Mixon and Javonte. I would run with Mixon, hope Javonte get a little better, and go play that wire, bro. For sure. Go play that wire. Let's see. Another trade away, Jonathan Taylor. I mean, you waited this long. You might be feeling like I got to keep him. I waited this long. But don't be tied to these names. As long as Zach Moss is there, Jonathan Taylor's in trouble. Sell the fact that he's about to get going if you're trying to trade him. Hey, man, he's going to get going. It's only a matter of time. He had 5 targets last week. They're going to keep running. Minshew threw the ball 55 times. He better have 5 targets. But my thing is Moss is not going nowhere. And if they continue losing, the goal would be to keep Taylor healthy for the long term, especially with Richardson looking to miss the rest of the year. We seen what he was hurt as a workhorse last year. He wasn't even the top 10 fantasy player. This year, you got Moss that's killing. They both getting the ball. I don't want one of my best players with the name. You could sell him right now off the name and probably get more than what you could by holding the points you're going to get by holding him with Moss still there. So my argument is get him the fuck out of there. Jonathan Taylor, that is. Another one, Gabe Davis. You might have missed the window. You only had 3 fantasy points. It's time for him to go. If wide receiver TD dependent was a person, he's the poster child. Diggs demands the ball literally. If Diggs don't get the ball, he on the sideline argue with Josh Allen. You got to get Gabe out of there if you got him. Chances are you drafted him late, so it might be a luxury for you to have him, so you ain't really tripping. But if you can go upgrade at a position, whether it's tight end that's thin or something, he can go. Davis could disappear when you need him most. I'm telling y'all, the Bills don't need him in real life. 4 TDs in 4 straight games, and these are his catches for the season. 2, 6, 1, 3, 6, 3. Come on. Yards, 32, 92, 35, 61, 100, 21. Touchdown dependent. Sell him now. Another one on my list, Derrick Henry, King Henry. Again, I look for him to get traded. Tennessee's going nowhere fast. Tannehill hurt. The run game looks bad. You know, it's time to reboot over there. So I'm not banking on Henry doing what he's done over the years, which is be that winner back that kills towards the ender. It's time for him to go. My last sale is DK Metcalf. He hasn't cracked 20 fantasy points this year, only once, and it was at 19 in some leagues. Every game he's leaving with an injury or the same injury, banged up. He's always been TD dependent with a big name. Sell DK. JSN's getting used more in the offense. You still got Lockett there. They want to run the ball. You still got Walker. DK is a name. Hopefully you could sell him as a name. Hopefully you could say, hey, he's going to bust. Get him now. It's time for DK to go. Is Aaron Jones playing this week? We seen what happened when Aaron Jones was supposed to play last week, and he didn't right on Monday night. So you better check on them injuries and find out, man, because we could say today he gonna play. We could say Saturday he gonna play, and then what happens? He don't. I heard they just signed James Robinson. Maybe they don't believe in Aaron Jones, so it's time to let him go. But look, man, that was the trade Swerve, selling Swerve targets along with some waiver wire advice for y'all. Go ahead and check back in this week. We're going to drop another episode of players that you should be trying to get. And check out this Sunday, the 1-year anniversary of the weekend wrap-up with JD, Wax, Works. Myself will be popping through that thing and maybe some other special guests. Hey, yeah, my whole team banged up on a bye. Hey, rewatch this episode and see some of them running backs that I talked about that you should be stashing. I appreciate you banging play for hopping in. Appreciate you, Jacob. Hard to Start Fantasy Podcast. We